Winning in the Gulag more in Warzone is so important if you want to improve your kill to death ratio and improve your win percentage. It gets you back in the game and saves the squad some money whilst you're at it. In fact, being better in the Gulag can change the whole way you approach Warzone. If you can guarantee you'll be flying back in 9 out of 10 times when you visit the Gulag, you can be more aggressive with your first life and drop into busy areas and attempt to get some high kill games. If that's your goal anyway. So let's start. The second that you get put onto the Gulag floor, take in all of the equipment and weapons that you're given by looking at the HUD on the right hand side. Obviously there's your primary weapon, but also take in what's your secondary in case you need a quick swap. And it's also very important to digest what you have as your lethal and tactical equipment. These are often the difference between winning and losing the Gulag in those sweaty Gulag battles. They either give you the kill or give you the information as to where the enemy is. Stuns and flashes are top tier for tactical equipment, which you should use to hit areas where players usually are. But even snapshots are useful as they can tell you where a player is, and often when they are spotted, they'll just run right out of their position, ready for you to pick them up. Just make sure that you throw your equipment, whether that's tactical or lethal, with a purpose. So don't just throw it randomly, clear out common positions that people hold. Now, when you actually start, there are two main styles of play that you can use in the Gulag. One is what I call head glitches and ears, and the second is just pure aggression. The first one, as you could have guessed, involves holding down power positions where only your head is showing, then listening out for audio cues, whether that's stuns or the enemy moving themselves. This is the one I utilise the majority of the time, and I hold down a fairly consistent 80% plus win percentage in the Gulag. A lot of people think you have to be all guns blazing in the Gulag because it's small, but you often have more time than you think, and you can afford to be a little bit more patient. The second strategy is pure aggression, where you're jumping corners and pre-aiming spots that you expect the enemy to be in. They're both valid approaches, but choose the one that best suits your playstyle. You might watch the top players in their videos being really aggressive and think that's the only way to approach Gulags. I'm telling you it's not. Even they change their style more in line with the head glitch and ears one when they're in private lobbies with other top players. What you cannot afford to do is to be passive and just hope to get the win. This hands every advantage over to your opponent. They can estimate where you'll be by narrowing down certain areas, and you'll hand over the best spots to them. Whatever you do, avoid this. Even if you are trying the other techniques and failing, you're in the process of improving, so persevere. It's still better than just being passive and handing over every advantage. Now obviously you can utilise any of these two approaches and still lose if you're not tactically aware of the Gulag enough. By this I mean knowing which areas are best to occupy and hold, and where you expect the enemy to be at what time. It's not good enough to head glitch a box at the back of spawn and look at nothing, whilst you give up the map control to the opponent. At the same time, you can't be really aggressive and just run into the enemy's line of sight, where they can finish you off without any effort. So what are these positions and lines of sight we need to have in our heads? I've outlined the major ones for each side on a blueprint of the current Gulag here. The red arrows are ground level lines of sight, and the orangey colour are the elevated lines of sight. Now these are all the positions and lines of sight that are commonly taken up at the start of the Gulag. Once you learn these, you can start to figure out where people are likely to be and where the best position for you is. In my opinion, this side of the map is slightly better for passive head glitch and ears strategies because the cover offered is just a little better. Frequent visitors to my streams here on the channel know that I like to take up the centralized lines of sight, then use my ears for anyone coming around the wooden areas on the outer. You don't have to do this of course, but it's a tried and tested method for me. For aggressive pushes, you can either run and bunny hop across and challenge people in these likely positions, or use the elevated lines of sight at the start of the game to get an early indication of enemy locations before aggro pushing the other part of the Gulag that you haven't seen yet. If we look at the Gulag from the perspective of the other side, you can see that the lines of sight are largely just the opposite. However, the top side cover doesn't allow head glitching. You have to show your whole body to challenge or check areas, unlike the other side. So maybe when you do spawn on this side, look to either challenge around the middle or on the outer wooden area. Of course, if the opponent is playing really passive or gets damaged and manages to run away, you can just hold the central tank. This is the strongest power position on the map and offers lines of sight to both sides of the Gulag and has close proximity to the central flag. The main weaknesses in this position are from stuns and grenades, so be careful if you have spawned in with them. If you follow this advice and take in these lines of sight and positions, you'll slowly see your Gulag win percentage improve. But along with that, you just need to practice and practice. You'll then get to perfect the timings in terms of knowing when an enemy likely appears at certain locations, and when the best time to throw equipment is. These are really important aspects, but come from playing a lot and reflecting on your performance. It's hard to just say 8 seconds in, grenade this head glitch to the right and you'll win all the time. I'm not gonna lie to you. But that actually is everything for this video. If it does help you out, be sure to give it a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more Warzone videos, shorts and streams. Bye for now.